Greetings, Legionnaires, and welcome to the Wrestling Legion Weekly Podcast. I am Nick the Geek, and I am joined, of course, by two brilliant brains, two fantastic friends, two marvellous minds. I am joined by the Redeemer, Andy. Andy, how the hell are you doing?
Smashing, thank you.
Thank you. And we are joined by the Joey Styles to my Tony Schiavone. We are joined by the man himself. We are joined by Simon. Simon, how the hell are you doing?
Really, really good, mate. Apologies if I'm a little bit red. I've just had something spicy before I came on air.
It's all right. We'll never notice. It's only because it contrasts your hair that we can tell at all.
I'm burning up.
All right, boys. Not going to be a long show today because we know what we're going to talk about. So first things up first. Last night on Raw, Seth Rollins defended the World Heavyweight title against Jinder Mahal and apparently picked up a leg injury following the match or during the match. He had to be helped to the back. The good news is he was walking on his own power when he left the arena, but he had a sizable limp. I know he's going in for an MRI to see if the injury is any worse, and we can hope it's something like a meniscus tear because then it's just 6 weeks and he'll be back in. But if it's anything more serious, lads, Seth ain't going to make Mania. Now, I have one question for you, Simon.
Shoot.
If Seth isn't going into Mania as the World Heavyweight Champion, who is?
The Godfather. Yeah, because if you can't go into WrestleMania with a sizable limp, you've got to replace it with a sizable pimp.
Boom, tush.
No, okay.
Two drums and a cymbal fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the briefcase there waiting to be cashed in, haven't we? It's easily fixed. I don't know if he did it right to the end of the match. I don't know what the official report was, but I only noticed it when he hit the curb stomp at the end, and I thought, oh, something's not right there. But yeah, is he going to have the belt going into Mania anyway? Do you put it on somebody else and then have them face Punk? Do you put it on Punk and then have him face somebody else? I mean, there's loads of options, and I think it would hurt Mania a little bit not having Seth there. But you could always put him in a mixed tag match or something different instead. It's still going to be a great show either way. And I'm sure they've got loads of plan Bs, Cs, and Ds because the roster is so stacked at the minute.
Well, it's funny you should mention how stacked it is because I had a little thought, Andy. Now, as you know, zero number Manias have a habit of having triple threats. WrestleMania 20 had a triple threat main event. WrestleMania 30 had a triple threat main event. So I'm not suggesting that it's the main event because it's not going to be. But what if they put Damian Priest cashes in, takes the title, and then because he's feuding with Drew is the instant challenger, but then Punk wins the Rumble, three-way.
Stop it now.
Okay, can I say what Andy's thinking?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure I know what he's thinking. Right. WrestleMania comes once a year. For years, it had one main event. Recently, two. You should have a one-on-one singles match for the world title on these shows, right? Triple threats, keep them for the B-class pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever you call them. We don't need it at Mania. There's no need. No need for a triple threat. I like a good triple threat as much as anybody else, but not in the main event of Mania.
Nope.
Was it right? Is that what you're thinking?
But
100%.
I'm under the assumption it's not going to be the main event of Mania.
Oh.
The main event of Mania,
right?
At this point, looks like it's going to have one guy versus Roman Reigns. And that one guy probably going to be The Rock.
Yeah, but that's 92, isn't it? Obviously you've got to still put a Sutton night one.
True, and they did promise Punk a main event.
Did they? Did they promise him this year, or did they say he will get it in the next year or so?
They promised him a main event in 2013 as well. It didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you've got to give Punk as well is I think if they turned around and went, but it'll be so predictable if you got the main event this year. I wouldn't see him having a problem with that. I think Punk is a make sense guy, and I don't see no problem with that.
We need to get him in the ring on TV first.
Yeah, but everybody still seems to think that thingy. Me personally, I think the good way to go with it, if Seth is injured, wait till after the Rumble to announce it, because you just don't have him on the Royal Rumble, and then you could potentially have a tournament with the tournament final at WrestleMania if you wanted to go down that route.
No, that works.
Yeah.
But you do something easy back to triple threats. Sorry about this. But this ties into our next one, which I'll get into more deeply. But there's a good chance that Cody and The Rock are going to be wrestling Roman at the same time.
No, it's not. Shut up, Nick. Jesus Christ.
You're going to put you like, but I think logically, and at the moment,
How does that logically make sense?
how does it logically make sense? So Cody wins the Rumble, gets a shot at Roman Reigns. Unfortunately, The Rock's in the way. So the only way to get The Rock versus Roman, also versus Cody versus Roman, is to do a triple
That's
threat.
not good, but that's
Roman
not
worked
doesn't
both
make any.
nights.
It's not going to happen, mate.
Make it make
Not
sense.
going to happen.
50
It doesn't make. It doesn't make sense, and it's stupid.
Yeah, but it does make sense
I
because
mean, you may as well
that way
say,
Cody
hey,
can win.
hey,
He
look,
can
we've got
pin
so many
Roman.
big names signed that are full time at the minute. Let's put 17 guys in a scramble match for the main event for the world title. No,
This isn't
don't need to
Impact.
do that.
It doesn't make sense, mate, to do that.
Impact is
There's
no
no reason to insert Cody
TNA.
into that story.
No,
If
you're right.
anything, it takes away from that story.
Yeah, there are 2 titles. Cody can go after the other one.
Yeah, but
or
he
you
doesn't
take
want
the time, or you take the title away from Roman. Have him go with a finger.
Well,
Or
this
Cody
leads
waits for
into our
SummerSlam.
prevailing theory about the Royal Rumble, where we're all hoping, I am pretty much sure the three of us are hoping, that Randy Orton walks out of the Rumble with the WWE Universal Championship.
Or LA Knight.
LA Knight would be good, but I just
What's he
feel there's a
saying?
better story to be told with Randy and Cody than there is with LA Knight.
Oh yeah.
However, I was on Jimmy's show the other night, as you know, and I braised our theory about Randy winning at the Royal Rumble, and he brought up a reasonable argument that you don't want Roman losing the title without getting pinned. Now, I don't know if I agree with this, because if there are shenanigans aplenty,
Could be The Rock that gets him pinned, but the whole thing is the biggest thing that you've got here is if Roman loses the title without getting pinned, it plays still into the tribal chief story of he was robbed out of his title. If you get him pinned, it devalues the heads of the table story, in my opinion. So therefore, I if they wanted to pin Roman clean, they could have done Randy versus Roman. Now, if they are going to go down that route, that's the whole reason the 4 were there.
The flip side to it is if you don't get him pinned, then like you say. But if you do get him pinned, not only is he passing the torch, but you're creating a new, main level guy. Whoever it is that pins him has got that rub for years.
And does that need to be? And if you're going to go down the Randy route, does that need to be Randy?
No.
Well, the way I look at it being Randy is it's 2 birds with 1 stone. It gives Randy his 16th World Championship, so he equals Cena and he
15.
equals Rick.
Yeah.
No, he's 15 now.
No, he's on 14. Yeah.
No, I checked it.
I checked it.
Oh, did you check it?
Day, mate. Yeah.
Oh, okay. In that case, never mind that. I was convinced he was on 15.
No.
Cena's on 15.
This might be his 15th.
No, Cena's on 16.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Either way, I think it bumps Randy towards that goal by giving him another championship at the very least.
Oh, so sorry. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for him getting the championship, but what is the benefit of Randy Orton pinning Roman?
No, I don't think Randy's going to pin Roman. I think he's going to pin AJ. I honestly think he's going to pin AJ. I think Roman's going to walk out the Rumble squeaky clean, nowhere near the finish of the match.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get put through a table, something along them lines.
I think him and The Rock will brawl outside the ring.
Oh, that works. That'd also be a really good first contact between the two of them as well.
The Rock could straight up cost him the belt, distract him, turns around, RKO.
Yeah.
The magic of distraction.
I'm saying Randy doesn't need that rub. He doesn't need that special win. But it all depends on what they're going to do with Roman and how long Roman's sticking around.
I just really feel like that the pin is to keep that head of the table storyline going is not to let him get pinned, because I feel like that is the, and then also he can go down that paranoid kickoff route of I lost my title without getting pinned, I'm still the champion, and there's a lot you could do with that, but yeah, I just don't see and stop trying to insert Cody Rhodes into everything. And can I just say we've been going 10 minutes and we still haven't the biggest travesty ever in wrestling, even more than LA last year. That poor Jinder did not finish his story.
Jinder was hindered once more.
Interestingly, on that, we Drew didn't finish his story a couple of weeks ago. And then Jinder didn't finish his story this week. I'm wondering if Heath Slater's going to turn up in a week or two and challenge for the world title.
Old Pelvis Wesley.
We've had the other two.
We've had the other two. Reunite 3MB,
good.
damn it, it's what the people want.
All right, Jimbo.
Hey, Jim.
Hello, Jim. Comments.
Yeah.
Hello, Jim.
We need to. Do you know what we need to do as well? Is before we go to Mania, obviously I'm off the week before as well, Jimmy. We need to do a WrestleMania special on your channel because with me being off work, it'll be the one time that I will have the time to stay up and go on your channel.
Yes, I agree.
And then
What do you
we'll
think,
do
Jim?
one on ours as well.
Yes, that'd be great.
Sounds good.
Oh, right, lads. But back to the subject of Seth's little injury.
Whoa. Don't just go, okay, we're talking about Jinder here.
No, you were talking about Jinder.
It's not about Jinder. It's about Seth.
Yeah, well, he beat. He ended. That's biggest more travesty than Cody, that means.
Now, the travesty is that was probably the biggest match that Jinder will have for the rest of his career. But
Agreed.
it fit the bill, right? So,
That's the build. So, under the assumption that Seth is hurt, and it's not just going to be a few weeks out and that he's going to miss Mania, do you go with Damian Priest? Do you go with Drew? What scenario can you concoct to get that world championship onto somebody else that has a connection with CM Punk?
Firstly, it's easy enough to get through to probably the Chamber now, or the Rumble at least, without Seth wrestling. He's more than capable of coming out, defending the belt in the Chamber, getting jumped on the way to the ring and putting him out the picture. So they could stall until February if he needs replacing. But the perfect way to do it, I don't know. But Punk isn't ready for that unless there's a Rumble win. Cody isn't ready for that unless there's a Rumble win.
You got to cash in, haven't you? Cashing's got to be the way to go.
Yeah. That's
that, or I tell you what, it'd be quite an interesting thing, and it hasn't been done since 1992. Seth come out at the beginning of the Rumble and say, right, I'm injured. Whoever wins the Rumble wins the championship.
They have done it.
Yeah, they did it once.
Oh, sorry, they did, yeah, with Triple H won it, didn't he?
Yeah, when Triple H saved us all from Roman's reign.
But yeah, no, that would be good. Having a world title on the Rumble. Those Rumbles are like the best Rumbles.
Yeah, traditionally they are. Because there's so much more at stake.
Yep.
And it puts that extra caveat on top of what is already one of the biggest matches of the year in WWE.
I mean, one thing I will say, whichever way we go, is this year's Rumble is probably the most interesting Rumble in so long. There is so many people that have a right to win that Rumble or have got that arm in that like makes sense. It's just crazy. I mean, everyone keeps going on about Cody and Seth, and you've got Gunther, you've got Drew. You've got there's so many different people that could win that Rumble. LA Knight, so many people you could go and you'd pop for it and you wouldn't grumble.
Oh, we just lost Simon.
What did you do to him?
I didn't do anything. I haven't even touched my keyboard. I'm sure I'll be back in a minute. Unless his laptop just died or something along those lines, which is died upon. And he's back. What happened there?
Apologies about that. I have no idea. It just came out the screen.
I was shouting at Nick, what did you do to him?
And do nothing. But anyway, marvellous segue, Andy. The Rumble is barely 2 weeks away. Everybody knows I want Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble. It's not exactly a secret. And everybody knows that if Cody Rhodes doesn't win the Rumble, I'd like to see CM Punk do it because it makes sense. However, boys, I would like you to give me a top 3 off-the-wall Rumble picks.
Ooh.
Who else do you think could potentially, and with it making sense, win the Royal Rumble this year? Andy?
Go on, Si. You can go. All right, I'll go first. I've got LA Knight.
Yeah.
Could win the Rumble. There'd be no problem with that at all, in my opinion. Gunther. Again. No problem at all with him winning it. And then outside of that, let me think. Do you know what? You're probably going to hate me for this, but Austin Theory.
Wow.
Oh, elaborate on that one, please.
Curveball.
Well, he got a bit of a push and stuff like that, and it never really worked out for him. For me, the money in the bank is not the push to give a new star, unless
Agreed.
you're going to cash it in, because it's too, you've got to run out and get scuppered a couple of times and whatnot. Unless you're going to give it to a young star and they're going to cash it in that night or the next night on Raw, then it shouldn't be the case. But I do feel like a Rumble win can just really catapult somebody.
Okay, no, I can see that. Right, Si, who have you got?
I'm just thinking back first to the last question, and you can incorporate it into a Rumble win if the world title was on the line. But who do they go to in situations like this when they need to bridge a gap to WrestleMania? Who's got a long, long history with CM Punk that was never really finished on screen? The Miz.
That'd be a good one.
He's been used before to carry the belt into Mania just to drop it, right?
I'll tell you what I would like as well. You could really make a story up for this. So,
with Miz and Punk, absolutely.
Yeah, but you could make it up with, if you wanted, though, to get the title picture and make a big story of it, you could have anybody win that Rumble, win the title, and Priest comes in and cashes in on them straight away. And then there's your WrestleMania match.
Oh, I like that. I like
that.
So
even Cody, Cody wins the Rumble, holds the championship up, bang, gets took out by Priest. I'm telling you now, everyone will want to watch that match. You know what I mean? It's it's instant heat and instant interest in a match for me.
No, I give you that.
That's what the Rumble's great for, isn't it? Way back from when Sid threw Hogan out, it makes stories. It makes those matches important.
Can I give a big prediction for Rumble?
Of course you can.
So me and Dale done a little video a while back on feuds that started in the Rumble that weren't winners, right? And it got me thinking and stuff like that. So this year, my prediction is Gunther and Brock Lesnar are going to eliminate themselves together, and that will lead to a match at WrestleMania between the two.
I'm down with that.
I know a lot of people.
I know Gunther wants Brock, and I'm pretty sure Brock would like Gunther.
I'm pretty sure that Brock was a heel, apart from the slight second of kudos when we last saw him.
They gave to Cody.
You need to bring him back, and you need to reestablish him as a face before you put him against Gunther. Otherwise, you've got heel, and we all know.
But that's the thing, Si. Brock, when you bring him back, is never a heel unless his actions make him a heel. When you first bring him back, it's a huge, massive pop. Everyone's excited to see Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
you could literally have him be the babyface. Yeah. And also, Gunther's German, so they'll just do it the old way.
I think with them two is though as well. It's that age-old match of, do you even need a babyface and heel with them two? Because the whole aspect of the match is just two big beasts just kicking shit out of each other.
It's the question of who can survive more: Brock getting his soul shocked out of his body, or Gunther getting German to death. No pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Show against Aki Bono was two big beasts just brawling into each other, and
no, that was a horrendous sumo.
I get what you're saying. Anyway, back to the three picks for the Rumble. I'll go with Andy on LA Knight. I think could really use the rub. The guy is 40. Pull the trigger while you can. Another one to potentially get a belt to Cody would be Nakamura, because he was on Raw last night saying how the story isn't finished. But my pick has got to be my boy Dominic Mysterio. Right, you hear me out. You've got so much. Why are you laughing for? Right, this is totally unbiased. Right, this is as objective as it comes. You've got weeks, to lay out Damian Priest cashing in, winning the belt. Okay, who beats him for it? Rey Mysterio. Dominic wins the Rumble. We get the match we should have had last year with the correct finish, which is Dominic beating his father.
I don't think Rey's back though by WrestleMania, is he? He's still injured. But just to elaborate on your bit though, first of all, R-Truth posted on X before saying that he still can't find Nick Mysterio on Facebook.
Yeah, he found Tom, but he can't find Nick.
Tom and Nick, yeah.
And also, how awesome, right, would it be if Dom Mysterio won the Royal Rumble and challenged Dragunov to a match at WrestleMania?
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Imagine the fume.
That would be hilarious.
That would be fuming.
Oh, it would kind of that would change the precedent of what the Rumble's all about. It really would.
Well, we already know someone who's done it, don't we? Charlotte Flair. She's done it.
Charlotte Flair, she challenged Rhea, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, in the state of the rules, it can be done. And if you don't want the Royal Rumble winner to be your WrestleMania headliner against the two thingies, then you could always go down the NXT route as a surprise thing and still get the matches that you want.
Right. Sticking with the Rumble, boys. There is another Royal Rumble, of course, besides the men's. There is the women's, which I think this year isn't getting as much shine as the men's because there aren't as many advertised potential winners in the story.
Do you know what? I disagree with that. I think there is advertised winners and stuff like that. I just think the absolute depth of the men's this year is unbelievable. And I think that's with Punk and Cody and everyone else.
That's what I mean. I just mean there is more shine on the men's Royal Rumble this year than there is on the women's.
No, sorry, can I just rephrase that? So I think there's a lot of potential winners in the women's one, just as many as the men's. But I think what gets me this year is with the men's, there's so many different ways you can fire off stories off the back of it. Where I think with the women's is there's a lot of potential people who can win it. We know the one that should win it. But
if you're thinking what I'm thinking, it's Way Bailey.
There's nobody else this year. There's nobody else.
It has to be Bailey. Becky is, as of Monday, the only other contender because I can seriously see Becky versus Rhea at this year's Mania.
I after watching Raw last night, was it last night? Is it Tuesday?
Yes.
I actually think that we're going to get Becky Rhea at the Rumble.
Okay.
But
all right, that'd be good.
I don't know.
That'd be good. I don't know though, because Becky did announce that the only way to get to Rhea is to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Or she'd have to beat Nia because she lost that one.
Well, I'm under the assumption, and this is just an assumption, but we're going to get Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley in Perth.
That makes a lot of
Elimination
sense.
Chamber.
Yeah,
I would assume we're going to get Nia versus Rhea at Elimination Chamber, and Rhea Ripley will get her Hogan Andre moment.
Well, literally, Jimmy's just put that in the chat. Beck and Rhea at the chamber. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I definitely think it's going to be fingered. I mean, if you want to have the big star versus the big star, and they're going to headline, that's a great match to have at the chamber. So it makes a lot of sense.
It is, and I'm under the assumption that Rhea is definitely main eventing.
Oh, she's got to. 100%, she's got to. She's got to have a bulldog moment, hasn't she?
Yeah. That's a good way of phrasing it. It's a very good way of phrasing it. Right, but back to the Rumble, lads. So, other than Bailey and possibly Becky Lynch, who do you think are the favourites of the women's match?
Jade Cargill.
Oh, nice.
Santina Marella.
Don't be ridiculous, Andrew.
Liv wins the Rumble and
challenges Rhea at Mania, where Dom turns on Rhea and makes Liv his new mommy. Jimmy has been drilling this theory. Has been drilling this theory for months. I think it's actually genius because how do you turn Rhea Ripley into the mega baby face she's supposed to be while also keeping Dominic Mysterio as the most hated man in the company? You have him cheat on Rhea.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
I Liv Morgan.
Jimmy's pulling at my heartstrings there. I don't know whether I want to kiss him or punch him for that theory because it's so good. And yet, at the same sense, I would just hate watching my boy go through that.
It's perfect. It really is.
But totally
brilliant. The French would love that as well.
Yeah,
French would love that. They love intergender wrestling.
Dom versus Rhea is it's like shades of Eddie against China, isn't it? Which I think is where this is going.
Yeah, very much so. All right, lads. But that's enough about the Royal Rumble for now. And on to the next subject, which I found out today, which one thing should keep my dear friend Andy over there very, very happy, is Roman Reigns is only announced for 4 pay-per-views, advertised for 4 pay-per-views, PLEs, this year. The Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and an as of yet unnamed Saudi show.
Can I just say, it's not this year. It's this year so far.
This year
still haven't announced where no Survivor Series and all them.
Yes. This year so far, Roman is only doing 4 PLEs. But most importantly, he's not doing Elimination Chamber. Now, this means one thing to me. This means everybody in the Twitter machine that is obsessed with Rock versus Roman being on a B show.
Why would it be? Why? Doesn't make
Why?
sense.
Especially considering they would literally be taking the shine away from Rhea's moment.
Do you know what? I'll tell you straight. Like I see some of these theories, and my heart goes because I'm like, oh no, that makes sense, or that makes sense. But whenever I see in the Elimination Chamber one, I was like, go away. I didn't even for once make me feel any kind of worried because
no, it's just
never gonna happen.
I'm sorry, but like Jimmy asked me the other night, how annoyed would I be if Rock won the Rumble? And I said I wouldn't be. I'd be ecstatic because I got to see your head explode at WrestleMania, Andy. That's literally, if The Rock wins the Royal Rumble, yes, I'm going to be slightly miffed it's not Cody, but at the same time, I get to see this man explode, like physically explode. We're going to have to explain to his son why his dad's not got a head.
It'd be like the 12th century mayor of Warsaw who just walked in and spontaneously combusted.
Yeah, fucking hell, yeah. Oh. I will share a man nappy on the night of the Rumble just in case.
Smart, intelligent, right? But my question is this, guys: with Roman only being announced for 4 shows, do we think this is a guarantee he's dropping the title?
Not necessarily.
Or do we think that Hogan reign is still in the plans?
They could do, they could not. I don't really see the point in it now. And if also what's led to believe, so I read a couple of bits on Twitter. It was from reputable sources. Forgive me, I can't remember the names of them. But they were saying that Roman physically can't wrestle more than a couple of times a year.
Because of the leukemia treatment.
Because the leukemia treatment took its toll on his body. So he hasn't really got it in him to do a lot. Don't be wrong, I think he does really, really well when he does perform. Now, if WWE are looking to, from what I've heard, that the whole bloodline story and head of the table was always leading to The Rock. Now, they were meant to, it was meant to go to, I don't believe they thought it would take off as much as what it has done. And I think they've always delayed the ending of the story on the hope that they were going to nab The Rock into it. And I think if this is the year which it looks like it is, then, maybe that's where you need to end the story is Roman's personal story is the end boss, The Rock. So is it the bloodline story that makes more sense, or is it the Hogan reign? Me personally, I think we've all said it. You can't have the title on the line at that match unless there's a chance that The Rock could win it because it's
pointless.
Yeah.
I will say this, Si. Now, this is just my opinion. The Hogan reign means nothing because he's only 3rd place, right? Unless you're going for Bruno's record of 2,784 days, then what's the point? Hogan's only 3rd place.
Yeah, I mean, you're going back to WWF, aren't you, before that? Yeah. And either way, if Roman should lose today, tomorrow, he still had the longest reign in, nearly 40 years.
Decades.
Yeah. But, if it was to knock Hogan down the totem pole a little bit, because that is like the modern era record, I'm not sure if yesterday's news might have changed their minds a little bit.
I was literally going to say that then.
Hulk Hogan and his best friend, if you believe everything you read online, which I think this was reputable.
Have you seen the pictures and the video to it?
I've seen the pictures. I've not seen a video anywhere. But apparently him and his friend saved 2 teenagers from a car wreck or something. Yesterday, he's being hailed as a hero. So, yeah, I mean, if they were going to get Roman to pass Hulk because of his... maybe a few times he's misspoken over the past decade or two. This might be a reason for them to change their minds. I don't know.
No, I'd agree.
But
all that's once, besides the point. I would like to say, well done, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, for that. Yeah. Although I'm sure he'll tell a taller story than what actually happened. But back to what you were talking about, I think there's a way to do both, right?
Okay.
I totally agree that the Rock and Roman don't need the belt at Mania for that match to happen. But then if Roman's going to stick around with the belt, he should absolutely beat The Rock. I don't think The Rock should come back for a win if the belt's on the line. Because then what are you going to do with it? Are you going to have an instant cash in and just take all the, the reaction straight away? Nah, it doesn't make sense. But there's a way to do it. If you stall it, not until even SummerSlam, but Survivor Series. Survivor Series is in Madison Square Garden. Where did Dusty nearly win the world title?
MSG.
That is finishing Cody's story. And it would also allow Roman to surpass Hulk.
I mean,
that means Cody's got to wait till after September.
Well, yeah, yes, but he'd have to anyway if that was the case. And as I say, there you could build that whole story around that, mate. You know what I mean? And people would buy stuff back into it. And I think also one thing that you could do at Mania is Roman's that arrogant that he'd just be like, "You're not getting a shot at me title. This is not about titles. This is family."
That'd work.
Yep.
Yeah, that works.
Right. So,
okay, lads. Well, because I'm a lazy host, we've run out of topics. Couldn't think of anything else this week. I've got a topic.
Go
for it.
Awesome. So, I think we've had a great first 2 weeks in wrestling. In-ring wise, shock wise. Have you guys seen the amount of debuts we've had and guys switching companies this past week?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a few of them at least.
I mean, let's list a few, right? You've got Matt Riddle has turned up in New Japan. Or New Japan Strong, at least. Or was it New Japan? Might actually be New Japan.
Battle of the Valley, New Japan Strong.
We've had the debut of Dolph Ziggler in Impact.
It's all everywhere.
Of Dolph Ziggler in New Japan. What's the other one? We've had the debut of Dolph Ziggler in GCW. Or that's about to happen. But we've had so many guys just like switch companies back and forth. And you're starting to think, well, who could show up where next? So my question for both of you, not thinking about contracts or anything like that, who is going to be the next big name to jump from one company to another? Do you see any between now and Mania?
Because Jimmy brought this up, and I wanted to run it past you anyway, because it's Rumble related. Maxwell, Jacob, Friedman. Cody is kind of in the way of The Rock versus Roman Reigns, at least from certain people's standpoints. People who really want that match, Cody's kind of in the way. So Max debuts, who is out of contract, by the way. Max debuts at the Rumble, eliminates Cody Rhodes. Basically, the next night on Raw, after his debut, says, I'm going to do here what I did in the other place, and I'm going to stop you winning that world title. Not in those so many words, but in a more convoluted, expressive storyline booked way of doing it. So, for me, Max.
Okay.
Keeps Cody out of the way. He gets a program running up to SummerSlam. His Mania match is against Max, which would be a big-ass match. It'd be a great match as well because they work really, really well together. And then, as you say, comes SummerSlam Survivor Series, Cody can win the belt.
I mean, I'm going to be cynical on this one. And I don't think Max is leaving for a second. I think it's all storyline.
I'm just hoping.
But, yeah. What's yours, Andy? Who would you pick?
Wardlow.
Wardlow? Where would he go? WWE?
WWE.
I think that'd be a good fit.
I think it'd be a very good fit.
Yeah, that'd be a good fit.
My other option, to throw out another one, is Okada.
He's got to go somewhere, hasn't
he? He's got to go somewhere. And he's just filed trademarks for Rainmaker and a couple of other ring names that he uses. And traditionally, when wrestlers start filing trademarks, it's because they're going to go off on a bit of a sojourn.
It is, but
for a while.
Traditionally, if Okada was going to be in WWE, he wouldn't need them trademarks because they just trademark what they wanted for him anyway.
I'm not suggesting he's going to WWE.
Okay.
I'm suggesting, unfortunately, he's going to AEW, where those trademarks are necessary. The reason I think Okada would end up in AEW is because, one, a couple of his friends are there. Like, regardless of what we all think of the Young Bucks, Okada loves them.
He's got friends in WWE as well, though.
He does. He has Nakamura and a few others.
AJ.
But
AJ.
He also gets
Finn
to
Balor.
carry on working with New Japan if he goes to AEW.
Well, apparently, WWE are in talks with some of the Japanese companies, aren't they? So,
Noah, I believe.
Yeah.
Which would be very interesting. But what about you, Si?
My pick, just because we haven't seen him on TV for a few weeks, and because
You say Jack Perry, I'm going to mute you right now.
No. I'm pleased to see that son of a bitch gone. Let me tell you that. No, for me, I think we could see Sheamus turn up in AEW. I think they potentially, depending on what you believe, they made an offer for Drew. Drew decided to stay in WWE or extend his contract. They've got that slot and that money open. He's disgruntled. He's not got a lot of years left in his career. Let's see him go to AEW.
I think he'd be a good fit there too.
Yeah, he'd be a beast there. Yeah.
Reunite the bar.
Oh, and put the bar back together. Yeah, I like it.
That'd be great. Right, Andy, your turn.
Impact, obviously, well, TNA made its return this week. Obviously, they put that absolute gobshite in as the champion Moose.
Hopefully that's just transitional.
Yeah, it's
There's a reason for it. There's a reason.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Trinity, done really well. She's had a really good run over there, Naomi. And all in all, it was a really good pay-per-view. That it really was a good pay-per-view. I think sometimes they are very hit and miss, the TNA, but well, not the TNA ones, the Impact ones. But I feel like they got off to a really good start.
I thought Hard to Kill was a fantastic show.
Yeah, they really got up to a good start.
It was fun to watch. The wrestling was good, and like I think one of you guys said, it flowed really well.
Yeah,
it did.
You just, in fact, it might have been Jim. I forget. I was talking to somebody, and it just from start to finish, the flow on it was so easy to watch.
Well, it was a very long show, but it didn't feel like a very long show.
No, it didn't.
Which is very hard to do. I mean, because you've got AEW on the other end of the spectrum that put on 5-hour pay-per-views, and God, do they feel like 5-hour pay-per-views?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Is that your ear falling off?
I need to get aggressive.
Yeah, my earphones. These don't stay in my ears.
But one of the highlights for me was that women's match that you were just talking about with Trinity and Jordan Grace. Did you notice anything strange about the match? I'm not sure if it's just me imagining things, but they both had new kind of psychedelic attire on. And I swear it was a tribute to SummerSlam 92 with the Macho Man and the Warrior, the way the colors were. But I might be wrong, and I've not seen anyone else pick up on it. But
it's a good catch.
But regardless, we had a couple of people watching that. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. There was Bailey and
Bailey and Mercedes
watching in disguise.
Yes. The worst disguise I've ever seen.
The mirrored shades and the cap. Everyone knew who they were. But do you guys think this means anything, or is it just friendship?
They were both Bailey and Naomi were both there for Sasha's Japan debut, weren't they?
Yeah.
Or Mercedes, so you don't know, mate.
Well, they're very close friends, but hopefully, and I'm just hopefully spitballing because rumor is Naomi's coming back to the Rumble.
Yeah,
which I think she'll get a phenomenal pop. I think it'll be a great return for her. She's a great worker, and hopefully she'll get handled well this time. What about Mercedes?
I think that's where she needs to go.
I think Tony Khan's already missed the boat on that one. I think he should have pulled the trigger on her last year when she was like the hottest women's free agent, in the business. I don't know. I see her going back sooner rather than later, but I think for her to go back, maybe we would need Charlotte to leave first because
Charlotte's out for 11 months now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still going to, whether she's in ring or whether she's inactive, there's still going to be the same issue on who gets paid the most. They both want to be up there. That's the issue, isn't it? And I don't think Charlotte's going anywhere when we maybe get Andrade in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
we're definitely getting Andrade in the Rumble. Yeah. Speaking of the Rumble boys, and speaking of Andrade, that gives me an idea. Surprise entrance this year.
Ooh, okay.
Tyler Bates
already said Andrade, and nice. Yeah, I completely agree. Ty Jones are at number 10. Sean Spears, whatever he calls himself. Also, I think Matt Cardona as Matt Cardona He said
That'd
he's
be
never
cool.
coming back as Zack Ryder. I'd love to see Matt Cardona in the Royal Rumble. Si?
I had a few the other week, and I'm damned if I can remember a name now. I mean, I'd just like to see some kind of throwback to the old school. Do you remember the Rumbles in the mid-90s? You know, you'd always get someone like
Honky Tonk or
Mil Mascaras.
Murdoch, or there'd always be like an old timer that would come back for one last showing in the Rumble and actually do pretty well with themselves.
X-Pac, baby.
X-Pac is a great choice, although I've got to burst your bubble on this one. Sean Waltman was interviewed this week, and he was saying that in order to come back for a Rumble appearance, it'd need to be back in shape, and he can get in ring shape at any time. It takes him 2 weeks, but he has to perfect the spin kick again in the corner first before he does it, and he has to get in shape and lose his gut. And he said there isn't enough time to do that before the Rumble, so he's denied he's going to be in it, which makes me think he might be.
I was going to say, usually when legends turn around and flat out say we're not going to be in the Rumble, it's because they're going to be in the Rumble.
Exactly. It's like the Chris Jericho rule, isn't it? What about Steve Austin?
Yeah. I think Austin wouldn't go into it unless he won it, or he was going to set something up with Punk.
Exactly. If Austin's in this Rumble and he eliminates CM Punk, oh my God. As much as your head will explode for seeing The Rock at WrestleMania, mate. Me, Punk versus Austin.
That's the one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Would this not answer your question from like half an hour ago, Nick? Right? Could you not have Austin just come out, number 30, right? And win the Rumble? And then straight away, he doesn't want to wait till WrestleMania. So he just gives Priest a stunner, takes the briefcase, cashes it in straight away. And then he fights Punk. Yeah.
That'll work.
Doesn't make sense.
That'll work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, right, lads. That's the show.
Wow, that went quick.
Short one this week. Right, ladies and gentlemen, Legionnaires, if you enjoy what we do here at Wrestling Legion, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It really helps us out. It's free, and it's the only way the YouTube algorithm knows we exist. Join the Legion. Everybody should. All right. I've been Nick the Geek. That's been Andy. That's been Si. See you next week.
Wrestling Legion, we make it make sense.